Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mihir Joshi. This is the MJ Show, and I am about to take my guest on, and I'm doing the same thing that I did a couple of days ago, actually, which is I played the intro music for you outside, and now I'm in my room, which is further away from my baby boy, so that we can talk peacefully and not have to worry about my sound here waking him up. That said, I have a fantastic guest lined up for today's episode of the MJ Show. He's an absolutely brilliant singer who's done a lot of interesting songs in the music industry. We're going to find out a little bit more about his journey, about the work that he did with A R Rahman, a song that he sang in a fantastic Shah Rukh film, and a lot more. In fact, we're going to talk to him about his own music as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on the MJ Show the very talented Abhay Jodhpurkar. And for everybody who's joined in, hi Mithila and everybody else who's joined in, thank you very much for being here with me. One second, let me just add Abhay on. I just did that, and there you go. Now we should have Abhay Jodhpurkar joining us. And hey, hi Abhay.
Hello, what's up, Mihir? How are you?
Man, I love your background in the behind you. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so basically, this is a facade that my Maushi has, is working on. She's gonna paint all of this, and this
Oh,
is all
nice.
wooden work on the wall. And I'm at my Maushi's place, so yeah.
And that is really, really cool. But anyhow, welcome to the
Yeah.
MJ Show. And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, brother. And for the record, I have been following your work and I have watched most of your interviews, and I love your stuff. And the fact that you're a great singer yourself, this is going to be
Thank
fun.
you.
Really looking forward
Thank
to
you.
this. Thanks for
You
having
know,
me.
I realized, I think we met for the very first time at the Harman event that was happening at
Right.
some hotel here after the Palm
Farm Expo.
Expo.
Yeah.
And this was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
did not connected for a long time after that. We spoke very
Yeah.
briefly, I think, once online. But then
Yeah.
we kind of lost touch. And right now, a few days ago, I had Shashwat Singh on, and he was telling me
Mhm.
about his journey. And I realized that, and he mentioned you in some way. And I realized that a lot of you have worked together with A R Rahman. So, as whenever somebody comes on the show for the first time, let's find out your origin story. How did you get into music, Abhay?
All right. So it's a very long story, but to cut it short, music has always been, an integral part of my upbringing and while growing up. And it was my grandfather who actually identified the talent in me, and then he would put me forward to all the, competitions and all the platforms. And we would just listen to music together. So while growing up, it was all about, passion and following it. And there was a lot of Marathi Natya Sangeet that I, heard while growing up. And then everyone would kind of sing in, typical Marathi family, which was happening. So music was always there, but never thought that I would actually take it up as a career until I went to Chennai, which also happened in a very sublime way and very, it was, I think, destined to be. And I think so. After finishing my 12th grade, I studied basics of Hindustani classical and then moved to Chennai for B.Tech. And after I moved to Chennai, I was exposed to Carnatic music, which was a big, blow on my, the understanding of music. And I was like, wow, this is so much. There's so much more to it, than just Hindustani classical and Western music. And then I started listening to it, and then I joined A R Rahman sir's Music Academy, KM, which is where the actual stuff started happening. I was, chilling with the, some of the finest musicians and students who we were, studying together. And then there was a lot of exchange of thoughts and ideas about music. And that's where.
Which year were you in at Rahman, at the A R Rahman Conservatory?
So I went to Chennai in 2013, sorry, 2011. In 2012 is when I joined KM Music
Okay.
Conservatory. So
So
while
you
I
and
was doing
Shashwat were
BTech,
around the same time. I think Shashwat was also there in
kind of.
2011.
Shashwat was right there from the beginning. Shashwat, Nikita, and
Correct.
all my other friends. But I joined in later, a year or two later.
Year or
And
two
then
later.
there was this vocal band which was formed called NAFS, which was some 8 singers we were put together, and then there was that's another learning experience which was a big part of my foundation for music that came about.
Were you a part of the band when they performed at the Jima Awards? I remember at some at
Exactly.
one
Yes,
point
I was there. I was there.
you
Yeah.
were there. Man, that was
Yep.
the year when my band won the Jima Award for Best Rock Album because I remember
Absolutely. I was
watching Rahman sir and with the band and
correct.
him right there in the front when I walked up
Yeah.
to pick up the award.
Yeah, I remember very vividly. In fact, I was going to bring it up that you won it, the award the same year. So it was such a beautiful coincidence that we
Yeah,
were at
man.
the same
Even I
stage
did not
together.
know about it until you just mentioned it right now.
Yeah, so Jima Awards was our first official performance of NAFS for the television, and so yeah, this was all happening. But the biggest learning I think which happened was during Qawwali sessions at KM, wherein we formed a group of some 10-15 singers, and we were taught Sufi music. We used to do Qawwali concerts, and that's where Rahman sir spotted me. So I happened to sing a couple of lines, and you know how we distribute the lines individually to people. So it was just one line that caught Rahman's attention, and then he picked me up for recordings, and that's how recording started happening. And being
That's
spotted by
awesome.
yeah, yeah, go on.
Sorry, you were saying continue, complete your line.
Yeah, so I think being spotted by Rahman sir and then him, recording me continuously for a couple of projects, gave me some confidence that okay, maybe I need to brush it up and take it seriously. Until then, I had no plans of, primarily pursuing music as a career, but I think it just followed, the course of
Very
time
good.
happened. Yeah,
So, before we get into the work that you did with Rahman sir, let's go back
yeah,
to your childhood where you said, you
hmm
heard a lot of Marathi Natya Sangeet at home.
yeah.
Do you remember some song at that point of time that you heard at home which you still love very much, which you still perform, or at least, when your family is around, they ask you, hey,
Absolutely. So, Katayar was definitely one of them, and we would like my mom. There's an interesting story actually. My mom, when she was pregnant with me, she would listen to all the Vasantrao Deshpande songs, and so she used to say that she used to predict that someday, eventually, I hope he would be able to sing all those songs. And although I didn't
wow,
get a training of Hindustani classical, but I was kind of gifted with those gamakas. So it just used to flow, and I could replicate all those songs. Although I never formally prepared them, but I could just sing a couple of lines for you, maybe. So here we go. ദമകരന്ദ പ്രിയഹാമിലിന്ദ മകരന്ദ പ്രിയഹാമിലിൻ മധുസേവന നന്ദ സ്വച്ഛന്ദ ധൂന്ദ ഘേ ചന്ദ മകരന്ദ പ്രിയഹാമിലിന്ദ.
wow.
Yeah, just a few lines.
Yeah, wow, very cool, man. In fact,
Thank you.
my 99, so, since the lockdown began on the 30th
Yeah,
of March, I'm doing this Instagram version of the MJ show. And
right.
you are, I think, my 141st guest. But my 99th guest was Rahul Deshpande, and my 100th guest
Yeah,
was
man.
Anand Kate. And I
Wow.
also, a week after that, I spoke with Mahesh Kale, all of whom have been involved with Marathi Natya Sangeet. And Rahul Deshpande has,
Absolutely.
in fact, I mean, Vasantra Deshpande's
Of
grandson,
course.
and he also
Yeah.
performed with Katyar Kaisa
Yep.
Dusri multiple times
Mhm.
on stage.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would
Yeah.
have been very happy hearing you do this
Absolutely.
right now.
Yes, yes. And in fact, we have interacted a couple of times, and I have had the privilege of exchanging some thoughts with him. And such a blessing to be listening to these people and learning from them, and then again meeting up eventually, professionally on different platforms. It's a great thing to have. So yeah.
That's fabulous. So now let's get to the part where you said, Rahman sir recorded you for a couple of projects. Now, what was the
Right.
first thing that you recorded with him? What was your first professional experience with him?
Right. So first professional experience was actually quite funny. I remember when I had performed for the Qawwali. So my Kuldev Kuldevta happens to be Tirupati Balaji, and I had given off my hair and chopped off my hair, and then I performed. So I was bald when he had heard me in the concert. Then a month later, he calls me up to the studio, and then he interacts with me, and he's like, "There was a bald guy who did this line. Da, 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 da. Were you that guy?" And then I was like, I was first of all stunned. I was like, how did he remember that line? And how did he remember, that phrase? And he sang it and showed it to me. And I was like, I was mind blown. I was shivering, kind of trying to gather my, courage to speak to him. And then I told him, yes, sir, that was me. My hair was chopped off that time because I had taken it off at Tirupati. But now that it's grown, yeah, it's grown basically. And then he's like, acha, okay. Now I can, place you at the correct place. And then he spoke to me for about 5 minutes and then made me comfortable because I was literally shivering and he could sense it. So he made me comfortable and then we recorded a devotional song. It's called Kalam. So it's his ideology to, make the singers, KM students especially, to take blessings of the Almighty and then, then proceed in their career. So I did some 3 songs, but the first song which was recorded was this Kalam that, just, quickly briefed me about the song and he was like, this is how it goes. So you write it down and whenever you're ready, we can start recording. And then I wrote it down, still very nervous and somehow, jitters down the spine. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? It's Rahman sir. And first time recording with him was always, this, really incredible experience. But then when he started recording, he was very, very friendly. He made me, at peace. And he has this habit of cracking some PJs, which I'm sure, all the singers know who have worked with him. So he cracked those jokes and then, made me, comfortable. And then I started dubbing. And then it was just, the next thing you know is he started calling me again and again for different songs. And then the 4th song was Mungil Totem, which was, which turned out to be my debut.
That was a song in the Mani Ratnam film, right? Kadal.
Film, yes, Kadal. Yeah.
Did I pronounce the word right? Is it Kadal or Kadal?
It's Kadal. Kadal, which means sea.
Yeah. Right. No. So my wife is a major connoisseur of Tamil, Malayalam, not so much like Telugu, but definitely Malayalam and Tamil films. Right. So I have heard the word, but I think there is a word called Kadal as well, and there is a so there are multiple words with the same alphabet, so I wasn't sure how it's pronounced. Yeah. I thought you would be able to tell me. And this was Mungil Totem.
Totem, yes, absolutely correct.
Tell me about working on a Mani Ratnam film, and that was your first sort of debut as a singer.
Debut.
I mean, you've been recording some songs with Rahman sir in the studio, and you've been performing again at KM and maybe smaller events. But for your first official release to be a song by A R Rahman for a Mani Ratnam film, the film is massive. So tell me about your experience there.
So first of all, to begin with, I think Roja has been, the biggest landmark of an album that we all know is how legendary it was and still, has its waves, pouring, into our hearts. So I think the biggest challenge for me was like when it happened, when I was called for the recording, I didn't even know that it was going to be Mani Ratnam film songs. And then I'm seeing Harini ma'am, who was my co-singer for the song, and Mani Ratnam sir entering the studio. And then I'm still waiting at the, desk and, waiting for Rahman sir to call me for whatever song. And then I'm just watching all of this, then, and then Rahman sir finally calls me that, hey, we are trying out this song and we would love to see how we sound. And then the next thing I was like, okay, what is happening? I couldn't believe that, this is actually happening. That the people that I've, heard all my life from and, who have been my inspiration, I'm going to be working with them. So it was a dream combo to work with to begin with. I was, really nervous. And then the next thing was, sir took this book of Vairamuthu sir, who was the lyricist of the song. And then he just jotted down the words and narrated me the lyrics. And then he played the melody to me. He was like, just get used to it, take your sweet time. And we'll record whenever you're ready. And then I prepared myself and then started recording. And then I think we started at 11 p.m. on 4th December 2011. And we ended up at 11:44. I still remember the exact time. And those 40 minutes, time of recording, I think it was the most, spiritual experience that I can recall it to be. And it was almost like I was just, in that state of, okay, we just have to give the best whatever we can. And Rahman sir was just guiding me, okay, now sing this line, now sing this. And then we laid out some harmonies all over it. And then within 40 minutes, it turned out to be something that I didn't expect I could actually, sing. and I couldn't believe that it came out of my throat. So it was very divine, and it is quite a spiritual experience. Like words, I feel short of words to define that experience, but it was really something that I didn't know I was capable of, and it was like
That's
Rahman sir just
beautiful.
extracted that out of me and kept it in the song, you know. And then I closed my eyes and I was like, wow, that is actually me singing who has sung this. So it was incredible. I mean, I couldn't believe myself. And then that was the revelation which I had that, okay, if I could do this, then maybe there's something more to, you know, what I can explore as a vocalist.
That's
Then the
awesome.
next thing you know is I was called again to make some corrections in the song. And then Sir praised my work and he said that he was talking to his sound engineers about me and they were really happy to find me. And Mani sir was also very happy with my diction. He told me, how did you pick up, Tamil so well? And then I told him, he said, I've been
That was going
listening
to be
to
my
you.
next question because since this was your first song, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
not your primary spoken language. I mean,
Yeah.
I assume you speak Marathi, Hindi, English,
Yeah.
but Tamil is not a language that you speak normally, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So being a Dravidian language, I think, of course, when I started dubbing, it was quite a challenge. But having listened to all those Tamil songs, which, in my college life, there was a music club, and then I had a bunch of friends who gave me their collection of music. So I think listening to them somehow registered a lot of Tamil into my head, and then a lot of common words between Sanskrit and Tamil actually, and Marathi,
Correct.
like letter R, for instance, is also there in Tamil. So
Right.
that also helped, a lot of common words, and so that somehow helped. But I think listening to a lot of Tamil songs was the ultimate reason why I could pick it up so quickly. And then Sir praised me. He was like, "You're the first North Indian guy who is, doing such a justice to, the song after, on the first go." And then I was like, okay, I must have done something right in that case. But yeah,
That's
that's really
fabulous.
surreal how, it just all came about. And my debut was with with the artists who were my favorite. And Roja's combination, same as the, lyricist, composer, and music director. And then, of course, being launched by Rahman sir was another, something that I'm really proud of. And in Tamil, that too, it's his mother tongue. So I think it couldn't have been a better launch than this. So it was a
That's
dream come.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
I want to hear you sing it, but before you do, I'm going to do something. Like I told everybody before I began, I'm sitting in a room where I don't normally do this. Now my
Mm-hmm.
baby boy has come back home.
Yes.
And the other bedroom is on the other side of the hall. If I do this
Yeah.
in the hall, you can hear me. So I've come here. But
Mm.
that's too much sound. So I have to like really crane, which is why I keep coming up front so that I can hear your voice. Let me drop the fan volume. I mean,
Sure thing. Sure thing.
okay. So much better now. It feels like there was a wind machine in this room, and all of a sudden
The
that's gone,
silence.
and I can hear you. I
I
can
know,
hear you.
right? The sound of fans is so annoying at times. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but it's
the
so
best thing
hot and
about
humid. Look at this. I'm already sweating,
it.
and I had the AC on like 10 minutes ago. I switched off the AC first. थोड़ा लगा कि वो आवाज कम हो जाएगी. फिर सोचा कि अभी fan कम करना ही पड़ेगा. So anyhow, let's hear the song, man. I know a lot
Sure.
of your fans who love your work in the South Indian music industry would love to hear it too.
Absolutely. Let's hear it. മൂങ്ങിൽ തോട്ടം മൂലിഹവാസം നിരഞ്ജമാനോ നീ പാടും ഗീതം പൗർണമിരവ് പനി വിഴും കാട് ഒത്തേടി പാത ഓം കൂട പൊടി നട இது போதும் எனக்கு இது போதுமே வேறென்ன வேணும் நீ போதுமே இது போதும் எனக்கு இது போதுமே வேறென்ன வேணும் நீ போதுமே மூங்கில் தோட்டம் மூலிக வாசம் നിറഞ്ഞ മൗനോ നീ പാടും ഗീതം. Yeah.
That's lovely, man. That was such a good song. I can see a lot of people here loving it and giving it a lot of
Yeah.
love. So everybody
Thank you,
watching
guys.
right now, if you enjoyed that, send in some hearts, send in some love. So that he'd like that as well. So
Thank
this was in 2013. I believe you were just 21 years old
Yeah.
at that point, which means you're about 29, 28, 29 right now. How old are you now?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 29. I
29.
just turned 29. In fact, last week, 31st July was my birthday. So,
Well,
I mean,
belated
10.
happy birthday from me and from everybody watching
Thank
right
you.
now.
Thank you. Thank you so
So
much.
let's talk about some of the milestone moments in the 8 years since 2013, the 7 years
Mhm.
since 2013 till now. Tell me about some of those moments where you felt like these were important parts or important sort of moments in your career. You felt okay. Now I've taken it one notch higher, one notch higher. And
Right.
everybody. What were some of the after this song happened? Did you immediately start getting more requests on wanting your voice to be on other people's
Yeah.
songs? Or what was the first big step that happened after this?
So I think the first big step, of course, was after when I was launched, as a playback singer in the Tamil industry with Mungil Totam. The next thing was working with all the composers in Chennai, wherein they were just trying out my voice for a lot of different genres of music. For instance, Kuthu is something like a folk genre. Kuthu songs started happening, and then I started exploring vocally what I can do with my voice, and I was just figuring it out. But the next milestone that I would say, which was really impactful, was formation of NAFS, wherein Arjun Chandy was called from the US, who happens to be the conductor and also vocal arranger for Vocal Majority, which is biggest choir in the world. And he was called down by Rahman sir to put together the first of its kind vocal band in India. So, and he happens to be trained in Carnatic music as well. So when Nafs was created, that's when I sang harmonies and understood the, vocal arrangement and choral singing for the first time. And then a lot of vocal techniques I was exposed to that. Okay, you can modulate your voice, and there are different ways of projecting it, and all the technical. So which was taught by Arjun Chandy. So I think during NAFS I realized that okay, you can technically fiddle with it, your voice so much, and there's so much more to it, and understanding the biology of it, and the vocal cords and this the entire anatomy. So again, that was a biggest the learning phase of my life, wherein I understood my voice better, like head voice and falsetto and all those sorts of things. So NUFS would be, I think, the second biggest milestone of my life. Third one would
Beautiful.
be, I think, singing a Malayalam song, which was directed by Andre. And there's this another great composer called Sharat sir, whose music I've always admired, and it's like an institute in itself. When you actually listen to it, there's so much you can learn so much from it. So working with these legends was, I think, the biggest milestone, wherein Malayalam being the toughest language known to mankind, I think to be able to actually sing in the language, if you can sing Malayalam, then there's no other language left which is more difficult for you to sing.
Wow.
I think I remember there was a song recording which went on for 3 days because I couldn't get the pronunciation right, and then it was a very simple sort of song. It was a lullaby, but getting the diction right was the biggest challenge, which had to happen, in the course of 3 days. And then I ultimately got rewarded for that song as well. I got a Red FM Best Melody of the Year award for that
Oh, how
in
cool.
my, which was, I think, biggest achievement in my career when it comes to languages, different languages. And then the fourth one being, and
Wait,
then
wait,
yeah,
wait,
of course,
before we go to your fourth one, before we go to your fourth one,
yeah,
in
yeah,
fact, just as you mentioned that you recorded a Malayalam song, just a second before that, a young lady called Not Natasha had said, "Hello, please sing a Malayalam song." So, since we
sure,
are talking about your Malayalam
sure,
achievement, to sing us a line or two of maybe that
yeah,
very song you spoke about.
absolutely. So the song which I took 3 days to record, Minna Minni, from the film Kude, I'll sing a couple of lines for it. Yeah. Mm. Minna minni rararo, കണ്ണിൽ മിന്നി ആരാരോ, മിന്നോടൊപ്പം എന്നെന്നും അക്കം പക്കം കൂടാലോ, ഉയരെ ഓരമ്പിളി മാമനുണ്ടേ, കളിയും ഞാലാടാൻ കൂട്ടിനുണ്ട്, മിന്നാമിന്നീരാരോ,
Wow.
കണ്ണിൽ മിന്നി ആരാരോ. Yeah, that's how the song goes.
Beautiful, man, beautiful, and
Thank you, man.
you know, I'm happy to admit my ignorance about a lot of music beyond what I feel is my realm, which is I'm
Mm-hmm.
primarily a Western music guy. So I listen to a lot of music from that space. And because of the MBA show now and my work in the radio music business, I've spent the last many years listening to Hindi and maybe Bollywood and non-Bollywood, but Hindi
Mm-hmm.
music. So I
Yeah.
have obviously missed out on a lot of music beyond the music of Bollywood, I
Right.
mean, non-English music beyond Bollywood. And I
Yeah.
just realized there's so much beautiful music in our country, man. Whether it's Tamil, whether
Absolutely.
it's Malayalam, whether it's Bengali, even Punjabi music,
Yeah.
there's some fantastic stuff. And I think thanks to this lockdown and also because of the MJ show, I've been very fortunate to be able to listen to some great music in languages that I do not understand. And
Yeah.
despite not understanding the language, I'm able to get goosebumps listening to a song
Absolutely.
which I've never heard before, which
Yeah.
just goes to show you the power of music. You can connect
Absolutely.
even if they
Yeah.
don't get. I've been saying that for years now. That listen, if we jam on a Spanish song, multiple Spanish songs, if we could get
Yeah.
a Korean guy to make us dance, if K-pop right now is one of the biggest phenomenons all across the world, I don't see any reason why Indian music in its various forms and various languages cannot resonate with the rest of the world. Where if the world
Absolutely.
it listens to and is exposed to a beautiful melody, they'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
man, this is a great song," and you just
Yeah.
proved it with that beautiful song. That was lovely, man. What was the
Thank you
song
so
called?
much.
Heard it again properly.
It's called Minna Minni from Kude. I'm gonna actually send you the link, and I mean you put it so beautifully together, and thanks for the compliment. That actually music is so powerful that it can unite no matter what country you're from, no matter what language you speak, as long as you have done justice to, as long as you're true to your music, you can connect with people on just that, which is amazing, right? And I think that's what I would say. Ki, after going to Chennai, that's what I realized that I was hooked on to these. Languages like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, all the four languages songs, and I couldn't
Lovely.
get enough of them, which was why I ended up staying back in Tamil Nadu, and then during a span of four years, I think I sang some 100 songs in the movies, which
That's
was
incredible.
yeah. So I think that was the greatest foundation that could have been laid for playback career, and after
Yeah.
that, now there's nothing left which is more difficult. So I think I'm grateful to my stars for starting my journey in the South, which is the more difficult part, and then entering Hindi, which is of course comfort zone for me.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, so coming to the fourth milestone, of course, was entry into Bollywood and working with Ajay Atul sir and getting my debut for Bollywood, which was also something which I didn't expect. And, it's something that I've always dreamt of, but it just happened so organically and something that I'll always be grateful for. Matlab, itna acha launch, usually people don't get it, but I got it. So I'm really grateful. So coming to, moving to Mumbai happened after, I think, it was 2017
Okay.
when I thought that okay, in Chennai things are kind of saturating and I need to shift my base to in order to explore different things. And I was still dubbing a lot of scratches for Amit Trivedi and for other composers as well. But somehow it couldn't click. A lot of scratches I did and which ended up being replaced by Arijit or bigger singers, which is bound to happen. I mean, labels want big names. So somehow nothing worked out. And after some 10 songs rejections, I felt like, okay, I think now I need to be there in Mumbai and I should be available for composers to try me out. Otherwise, this is going to continue to happen. So then I remember Ajay Dada I was in touch with because I had covered a song of theirs called Jivarangala, which was, of course, an incredible song and something which will always be close to our hearts. So I had done a cover of that with Savani, and we had actually done it in four languages, and with all the four songs in the same raga. And that he watched it, and then he was like, "Oh, we want to work with this guy. Call him over." And then we exchanged numbers and we had a meeting at Yash Raj Studios. And then they were like, we want to give it a shot. Let's try you out for some songs. And then one fine day, he just called me out of nowhere. And I remember there was Anand El Rai sir, then Irshad Kamil sir was there in the studio. And then I had no clue what project is this for, but they just told me that there's this song that has been sung by three singers. And we're just giving it a shot in your voice. If it works out, it does. Otherwise, call it your luck. And then I started recording. He gave me four lines of Mukhra, and then I dubbed it. Then he was like, okay, come inside now. And they had a discussion, and then they gave me the antara, first antara. Then I dubbed the first antara. Then I dubbed the second antara. And I was like, what is going on, you guys? Tell me something, what is happening? Then Sir Ajay Dada was like, no, no, you're sounding brilliant and we don't want to distract you. So just you focus on the singing, we'll do the rest of the talking. Don't worry about anything else. And then it was so funny. When we were heading towards the second Antara's recording, Anand sir is, a known foodie to everyone, and he started feeling hungry, and he was like, "यार अजय कुछ खाना खाते हैं यार, order करते हैं, पाव भाजी order करते हैं." And then I still remember Dada was like, "No, no, 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 he's sounding great. We can't take a break right now. Let's finish the song, and then we'll order food, and then we'll have it." So I remember I was also starving, and I was like, "Yeah, please, Dada, sun lo, thoda." And I had to belt those high notes with an empty stomach. But then, blessing in disguise, it actually worked out quite well, and I could project those notes with an empty stomach much better in a broader sound. So we finished that quickly, and then we finally ate together. And then there was a lot of, like the round table, almost like a conference, and we spoke and we connected just on artistic levels. There was no bullshit, there was no gossip. There was just, us artists connecting over art. And it was, I think, so beautiful that we are done with the recording, and it just flew. It was not even, planned, or it was very organic, and we were having fun with the song. That's it. And then the next thing I know is the song was out, given for the shoot, and it was shot for 14 days. And then during the shoot, everyone kind of thought that my voice is gelling well with Shah Rukh, and it's suiting him. And that's how they all mutually decided that, okay, let's actually finalize it. And then Ajay Dada didn't even tell me that your voice is actually locked. He wanted to surprise me. So on Diwali, I think the trailer was out, and I'm hearing my voice in it, and I was like, what is happening? So I called him up, and I was like, and then he was like, we want to surprise you. This is a happy Diwali gift to you from all of us, and congratulations. And I think I still remember I broke down during that call, and I was like, wow, this is, huge. This is incredible.
That's
And
amazing, man.
so that's the story.
But you know what? I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you this. It's not about, see, you make your own luck is what I genuinely believe. I hate the word lucky by default. When somebody tells you, for instance, right now, somebody tells you, man, you are so lucky. They disregard all the years of hard work and rejection and disappointment that you've gone through to come to that point where your debut on a Shah Rukh Khan song with Ajay Atul.
Yeah.
Seems like a dream debut, but before that dream debut, you spent
There's a lot of hard work,
possibly working to come to that point where your voice is ready to be used for a Shah Rukh Khan film or for an Ajay Atul song. Similarly, I'll give you one of the most common times where I get the word lucky. I've been working with WWE now, which has been like a dream for most kids. WWE as a kid, and now for the last 6 years, I've been working with them in some capacity. I've been doing commentary for 2 years. And when I end up meeting people, like I meet WWE superstars, or maybe thanks to the MJ show, I'll end up meeting singers that people really love, like a Sonu Nigam or a K. And then I hear, man, you're so lucky. And then I was like, yeah, lucky is when, there is like a radio competition happens and your name is picked up a hat and you're saying, "Arey, aap meet and greet ka mauka mil raha hai Sonu Nigam ke saath." I know. When Sonu Nigam invites you to his house and says, "Ki Baba, sit here with me, beside me on my couch and let's chat," that's not luck. You work your butt off to come to that point where, you can have that conversation. Similarly for you, I'm so happy for you to see that, your first song, your first debut by itself was on a song with Rahman, A R Rahman, and your first Bollywood debut was on an Ajay Atul song for Shah Rukh Khan, which is like spectacular. And I've got nothing but love for you for this. It's just brilliant, and I respect the amount of hard work that has gone into making both those important milestones in your life happen. So that's awesome, man.
Thank you so much, and thank you for saying it out loud, because it's very easy for people to get away with just saying कि यार तू कितना lucky है तेरे को इतने अच्छे debut मिले. But actually you're quite right. But how I think of it is as when the opportunity meets hard work, that's basically luck. So if you are prepared for that kind of opportunity, you would nail it no matter what. And everyone gets those opportunities. It's all about how much you have performed in that moment, So I'm sure, everyone gets lucky at some point of time, in their lives. but it's about how much what they have done with it. So yeah, so that's probably what I would answer them.
I can't recall whose quote it is, but it's something like this. It says, I found that the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Because
Wonderful.
you have to back those moments of opportunity, those moments of
Yeah,
fortune in life with a ton of
yeah,
hard work. That for instance, I know for a fact that if I land up, say you and I were chatting right now in person, and for some
yeah,
reason we were in the studio where Rahman sir walked in, without
yeah,
any preparation, I know I could sit with him and do a 1 hour conversation with
yeah,
him because I've got
yeah.
now 60 years of experience where I know that I can sit with somebody and have a coherent conversation with them and get the best out of them as well. But that's because
Absolutely,
of the work that I have put in that space. I mean, I'm
absolutely.
not
Yeah,
confident to stand up and sing in front of him, though I am a
true.
singer. Yeah, I'm worried
Mm.
about that. I don't have
Yeah,
that level of experience with it, with that
yeah,
aspect of my talent.
yeah,
But with my
yeah.
talking, with my talk show, I know I could sit with anybody right now. I mean, Amitabh Bachchan could come up and I could have a great conversation with him. But
I'm
that's
sure,
because of
man.
the work
You're
that
great.
we put in. That's because of the time that we
Yeah.
put in,
Yep.
into crafting our talent and making sure that
Absolutely.
when the opportunity arises, you're ready to knock
Yeah.
it out of the park. So good stuff, man.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, man.
Let's hear a little bit of your song.
Yes, absolutely. Hmm. उलझन भी हूँ तेरी उलझन का हल भी हूँ मैं थोड़ा सा जिद्दी हूँ थोड़ा पागल भी हूँ मैं बरखा बिजली बादल झूठे झूठी फूलों की सौगातें सच्ची तू है सच्चा मैं हूँ सच्ची अपने दिल की बातें दस्तखत हाथों पे कर दे तू ना कर आंखों पे पलकों के पर्दे तू क्या ये इतना बड़ा काम है ऐलान है जब तक जहां में सुबह शाम है तब तक मेरे नाम तू जब तक जहां में सुबह शाम है तब तक मेरे नाम तू जब तक जहां में सुबह शाम है तब तक मेरे नाम तू
Wow.
तब तक जहां में मेरा नाम है तब तक मेरे नाम तू
Beautiful, man. That's
Thank you.
fantastic. And I
Thank you.
realized, even when I heard the song earlier today, that it's so nice to hear a waltz,
Yeah,
rhythm being played in a Bollywood song. I mean, at least today. Maybe back
yeah,
in the day, we still use a little bit, but nowadays, you generally want to have your typical 4/4 or 6/8,
disco
your
or yep.
song.
True.
It's beautiful to hear a waltz beat on this song. Absolutely love the song. By the way,
Thanks, man.
say hello to Savani, who you mentioned you recorded with. She's
Yes,
also been
absolutely.
yes,
Yes,
TheMJ
yes,
show a
yes.
few weeks ago, and she said hi to you. And we just had Rajdeep Chatterjee who said hi to you as well. A few of
Hi,
your
Sabu. Hi, Rajdeep. There's a lot of familiar faces. Hi to all those people. I was actually too involved in the conversation to actually look
सेम
at the
हियर मैन सेम हियर
right?
एंड मैं हमेशा आप सबको कहता हूँ माफी मांगता हूँ मैं ऑलरेडी क्योंकि क्या होता है ना जब बातें करता हूँ मेरे मेरे गेस्ट के साथ में उसमें पूरी तरह
हाँ,
मग्न होता हूँ और
बिल्कुल।
वो करते करते यार याद नहीं रहता है कि मैं पर मैं देखते रहता हूँ
समझ
आपके कमेंट पढ़ते रहता
या
हूँ जैसे मैंने नताशा का कमेंट पढ़ा था she also mentioned that she could not believe that it was a non-Malayali guy who sang that song. So that's the greatest compliment that you can get. If
yeah,
somebody
man.
who is from that language says that, hey, this
Absolutely.
felt as legit
Means
as
a
it
lot.
can get, the best
Yep.
possible compliment that you can get. So that
Thank
was
you. Thank
fantastic,
you
man.
so much. Means a lot. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for the love.
So, let's go beyond this. This was in
Yeah.
2017, right?
Yeah.
And what's
2018, I
been
believe.
happening since
2018 was when the song came out. And
2018 is
then,
when.
yeah, yeah.
So let's talk
Recording.
about the last couple of years. What I know you did something recently, which was with Salim Suleiman, right? You did Shukran
Yeah.
Allah
That was,
in
yeah,
the
Times of Music with,
Times of
wherein,
Music show.
yeah, wherein Pyarelal ji, arranged Shukran Allah. And then it was a format where, both the composers cover each other's songs.
I
So,
know.
yeah. So I was a part of Pyarelal ji's team wherein we covered Shukran Allah. and it was surreal, man. Like, that 70s 60s में जो music live orchestra record होता था, and so we did that in one take, and the vibe
Wow.
was exactly that, Lakshmikant Pyarelal ji's direction, and then it was a dream come true being a part of this project, wherein, and also
Beautiful.
Shukran Allah has been, very close to my heart while, listening, while my upbringing. And I remember when I used to, participate, there was a competition that I had participated in, and so we were supposed to basically record it in one go on a karaoke and present it. And I recorded Shukran Allah for that, and I won that competition. So that was another thing which, yeah, happened. But yeah, so Times of Music was one of the things that I recently did. And then there was Jamming, which I had shot with Suresh Vadkar ji,
Wow.
wherein, so we both have jammed together on some songs, and one of the songs being Me Dolkar Darya Sa Raza, which is, they have made a Hindi adaptation of that, and it's going to be
Nice.
telecasted on Sony TV soon, I believe. So we've done 5 songs in that we've jammed. So that was another, I think, feather on the cap, wherein, Suresh ji say,
That's released already, right? Or it's about to
so
release.
the promos are out. It has been shot, but I think it's yet to be released. It'll be streaming soon on
Jammin is the thing with the QK property, right? Where they get
property. Yeah, exactly.
It's,
Yeah,
it's a great concept. I remember
yeah,
Shraddha Sharma was here. She told me about doing a song with Mithun and with
yeah.
Shan, and there have been some really interesting combinations that have been made. Older, senior, more experienced singers with younger, newer singers. I think it's a great concept, and I'm looking forward to hearing that, man. When that comes out, please send me a link, and I'd be happy to share it with everybody as well.
Will do. And those are, I mean, those 3 of those songs happen to be, like As Zindagi Gale Laga Le, and some of the gems crooned by Suresh sir himself. So I remember I went to Ajivasan school to meet him, and my dad used to tell me back in the day that you should just take up arts and learn music. So go to Ajivasan, pursue music. We would rather want that for you. But it was my zid ki nahi, meko pehle B.Tech karna hai, and then I'm gonna get into my hobbies. So it was so sublime, it was so like cool that actually I met him on this platform to collaborate with him. And that whole process, I learned so much from him. And he's just an encyclopedia, man, for Hindustani music. And when he's complimenting you and when he's validating you, it felt like a dream come true, So yeah, I can't wait to share that with you.
Give us a little preview of that. One of the songs that you've done with him, thoda sa suna.
Absolutely. So I could sing a couple of lines of As Zindagi itself, maybe. So that would be nice. As Zindagi Gale Laga Le, As Zindagi Gale Laga Le, हमने भी तेरे हर एक गम को गले से लगाया है ना ए जिंदगी गले लगा ले हो गले लगा ले. Yeah.
क्या बात है, beautiful man. So by the way, आप सब लोग जो अभी यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, what I'm going to do is this episode that you're watching here will of course stay on the IGTV part of my Instagram as well. But if you go up on the YouTube channel of the MJ Show, you can check out if you came in late, if you missed out a part of what Abhay has done, you can go and watch it completely, and make sure you do then share it with other people so that they get to know his story as well, and hear his song and get to know more about him. And in the description below, I'm going to do a few things for you. I'm going to give you a link to Abhay's YouTube channel so that you can go and subscribe to his channel. Hit the bell icon on both our channels so that when we put up new content, you get a notification. You can watch it instantly. And I'm also going to give you a link to Shukran Allah. I know a lot of you asked for that, but instead of making him sing that right now, I'll give you a link to that from Times of Music. You should check it out. And I think the whole series was beautifully done. A very dear friend of mine actually was one of the creators of that series, if I remember correctly. I'd actually come there for a shoot. In fact, I'd come there for the day when Salim Suleiman were shooting. I'd come there, I'd met up briefly. Even Shekhar was there that day for some reason, if I remember correctly. I didn't know that you were singing on stage, or else we would have landed up bumping into that day as well. But I stuck around for a little while. I think it's a brilliantly done show. आप अगर आपने अगर ये शो देखा नहीं हो, if you've not seen that show, I highly recommend it. It's on the MX player. I believe it's free for watching right now. I don't think it's a
Yeah, yeah.
paid platform. It is, right?
No,
So
no, it's
go
free.
ahead and
It's
watch
free.
it. You will be very, very happy. If you're a music lover, you're bound to love it. And when Gammon comes up, when his episode releases, when those videos release, I will share those links with you again, and I'll put them in the description there as well. You should go and check that out as well. I think Gammon is another brilliant property for music to be showcased in a different way for all of you guys. Abhay, let's talk about, in fact, just earlier today, I shared a cover of yours,
Mm-hmm.
which you done with this young boy called Keshav Naam, right?
Keshav.
Did I get
Right. Yeah.
right? And I think, pronounce the song for me. I don't want to make a mistake of
It's
it. It's
called,
a beautiful song.
yeah, it's called Charatukal.
Cheratukal. Because again, like I said, thanks to my wife, I landed up watching Kumbalangi Night. That's the name of
Nice.
the
Yeah.
film.
Beautiful film. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beautiful film. In fact, I also recall thinking that the first, like if the film is broken up into three parts, actually four parts, three-fourths of the movie is beautiful and dreamy and romantic and whatever else.
Yeah.
And the
Mm.
last 10, 15 minutes, it just goes nuts. And I was like, what just
Yeah.
happened over here? But despite that, despite the craziness, and it was an intended craziness, when she explained the logic behind it made sense. But my
Yeah.
first, what is happening? What I'm just jolted out of this movie because it felt like, imagine being in a nice reverie and enjoying
Yeah.
the sights and sounds of the city in
Yeah.
which it's shot, and then suddenly this craziness happens at the end. If you guys haven't
Yeah.
seen the movie, you should definitely go check it out. And
Yeah.
this song I shared,
Yeah.
which he's covered, an a cappella version of it, is absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about why you chose to do a cover of this song, and I have to hear you sing a little bit of it, man.
Absolutely. So the reason why I covered that song is because, I've been recently obsessed with that song. And ever since I saw the movie, it was, I think, recommended by Sucharita Tyagi on her blog. And then and Malayalam movies are always great, it can never be a wasted watch. So with that
Yeah.
mindset, I thought, okay, I'll just give it a shot. And then when I watched the movie, this was one song which, just stuck out and, it stayed with me for a while. And then I remember I was listening to it on loop after watching the film because that's kind
I
of the
agree.
theme of the film. And it's such a brilliant song. It has all the elements of, like it's such a beautiful composition and nicely treated by Sushin Shyam. So I thought might as well, just cover it because I've been recently obsessed with this song. So here we go. I'll like to sing a couple of lines.
Yeah.
ഉലകിൻ കടമേവാറ്റും തണുത്തൊരു പുലർക്കാറ്റായി വീശിടാം ഞാൻ ഉഷസിൻ നനമേ തോർത്താനിറങ്ങും വേലായിടാം പാറിലൊരു ഞാലയലയായി ഞാൻ വരാമിന്ന കാശമായി നിറയും ഒരു കണ്ണീർ കഴങ്ങൾ കടൽ ഞാൻ കരേറിടാം Yeah.
Good. I can't take this. I've got goosebumps, and it's just unbelievable, man. What a
Thanks,
beautiful
man.
song. You sang it
Means a
so
lot
beautifully,
coming
and
from you. Thank you.
the meaning itself is such an amazing song. I mean, it's spectacular, man. I really fell in love with it, and your version of it today as well, which is why I
Thank
was
you.
thrilled to share it with everybody today.
Thank you so
But
much. Means a lot coming from you. And thanks a lot for the kind words.
no, man, every word is heartfelt. Seriously, I gotta before we wrap up because I just realized baat karte karte we are already at about 50 minutes, and then in about 10 minutes more, Instagram will tell us that hey, you gotta wrap up. But
Yeah.
before that happens, talk to me about your own stuff. I believe you is Meherban your original.
No. Meherban was basically Pavni Pandey's single, wherein she's
Okay,
doing a lot of indie songs for her channel. So this is
right.
composed by Abhilekh Lal is the composer. But
Right.
there are a lot of songs in the pipeline which I have been working on. For instance, like a lot of multilingual songs. I'm working on a single which is also in Marathi, Tamil, and Hindi. It's trilingual, and I've shot it
Love,
with Anandi Joshi. I'm sure you know her. So I'm sure that's going to come out soon. But we're just trying to work on the video right now, which is why we're not
lovely.
rushing it. But there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I'm coming up with my own indie songs, and hopefully they see the light of the day
That's
post Corona.
spectacular. I am genuinely excited to find out more about your music because, while it's great to sing for someone else, and sometimes it's a great thing because they direct you.
Absolutely.
They hear your sound, they can hear your voice, and they know this is where you fit in very nicely, and it works
Yeah.
out beautifully, like it has with you, with your career, with the numerous songs that you've sung in South
Yeah.
Indian language and now in Bollywood as well.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm always very curious to find out about the singers own voice, which is his own representation of what he feels or she
True.
feels of their own sound. And I think
Yeah.
it takes a few years to find that.
Yeah.
Because when you're starting off, you don't know what your sound is. But then
Exactly.
as you spend more and more time with your sound, you land up
Yeah.
figuring this is what I want to sound
Absolutely.
like. This is what I
True.
think would suit me really, really well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And when that
Thank
happens,
you.
come back on the show and we talk about your original
Absolutely.
music for
Would
sure.
love to,
Yeah.
man. Would love to. In fact, very well put. And it's always fun to talk to someone who understands music and has such a great taste and is a wonderful musician himself. So this was fun. And as you put it beautifully, that, we are still discovering ourselves, and it's a lifelong journey wherein you always, are exploring and you find your own sound. So I hope I could find that soon, and then we would definitely talk about it on your show. And it would be
I'm
my
looking
honor.
forward.
And
I
another
think
thing
it's
that
going to be
I
very
had
soon, man.
to, yeah.
Sorry, you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, another thing that I missed out on mentioning about upcoming projects was I've done a song with Shalmali, which I'm really proud of. It's a Marathi song wherein it's
Arre
also her
wah.
directorial venture debut. The film is called June, and it's gonna, I think, come out next year June. But it's a beautiful song, and the first association together, and I'm a huge fan of hers, and I've seen your chat as well. So, so
So I keep joking with her, because so when I started off the MJ show just completed 7 years on the 1st of August. So my
right.
first show ever that I shot was with
Wow.
Vishal, and right after I finished shooting with Vishal, I shot with Shekhar. And those
Uh-huh.
two episodes that we shot, the hard drive on which they were saved that crashed. And the company that I was working with, they took about a month and a half to recover that data. They spent a lot of
Damn.
money. I told them very clearly, listen, we started our relationship together. If those two episodes that we shot are not recovered, I am not going to work with you guys going forward. Whatever you do, how much ever
Wow.
money you spend, you need to get those episodes back because I can't go to Vishal Ratlani and tell him that, hey man, I took half an hour, 45 minutes of your time, and now I don't have
That is
anything to
sad.
show for you. So
Yeah.
that's not happening. But while
Yeah.
that 1.5 month period was going on, and I ended up shooting with multiple other people, and the first episode that officially went out on the MJ Show's YouTube channel was with Shalmali. So I
Yeah.
have one is the first which appeared on the show on the channel,
Right.
and it's the first that I actually recorded. So Vishal was
Wow.
my first artist whom I recorded, but Shalmali was the first artist who was featured on
Okay.
the episode. And she is
Wow.
back recently, and she was talking about her new music and her new song. By the way, have you heard "For You"? I recommend it to everybody
Of
who's watching.
course. I
My son is
keep
a
listening
huge
to
fan
her
of that
stuff.
song.
It's incredible. I'm such a fan of hers. And I have all her songs I've heard, of course. Yeah. And that's such a
That's
cool
awesome,
story,
man.
man. Like, wonderful. That, it's all meant to be at the end of the day. No matter what you plan, how it
Yeah,
happens,
man.
something which is not in our control. So that's so cool. Nice to know that.
But you know what? Hey, let's end our episode together, this chat together with a song.
Hmm.
I got so many requests of it, and while I
Sure.
will give you the link in the description, let me ask Abhay to sing a little bit of Shukran Ala, which was an important song for him in his life
Sure.
as well. And I know so many of you love it. So
Sure.
let's end today's episode with that.
Sure thing. Let's do it. Hmm. हाँ, तेरी बाहों में जिस्म खिल गया, तेरी सांसों में चैन मिल गया, ले चल तू चाहे जहां, तेरी आंखों में नजर मेरी है, मेरी शाम शहर तेरी है, तू जो नहीं तो मैं कहाँ, खिल गई मेरी किस्मत पाके तेरी चाहत हम पे मेहरबान शुक्रान अल्लाह बोला हम्दुलिल्लाह शुक्रान अल्लाह बोला हम्दुलिल्लाह शुक्रान अल्लाह बोला हम्दुलिल्लाह शुक्रान अल्लाह बोला हम्दुलिल्लाह.
Yeah. That was
Thank you.
fantastic, man.
Thank you,
Thank you
man.
so much for spending this time with me. I really had a great time chatting with you today.
Pleasure was
For
all
everybody
mine. Thank you for
watching,
having me.
hey, it was my pleasure. For everybody watching, I was saying follow Abhay Jodhpurkar on Instagram. I'm going to give you a link to his YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that. Go subscribe to the MJ Show as well. Hey, tell your fans, tell all your fans who love you for your South Indian music, for your Bollywood songs, tell them to subscribe to the MJ Show as well, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, whoever is out there who's listening to this and who's going to watch this, please subscribe to the MJ show. And MJ is a great guy and he's a wonderful musician and you would always, love his content. So please do subscribe to his official channels and, follow him on all the handles. And thank you for having me, brother. This was really fun. We should do this
I had a
again.
great time too, man. I had a great time chatting with you.
Likewise.
But listen, guys, this is all the time we have for today. This is the absolutely fantastic Abhay Jodhpur. My name is Mihir Joshi. This was the MJ Show. I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye, Abhay. Take care.
Bye bye. You too, man. Thank you. Bye bye.
So that was Abhay Jodhpurkar. That was this episode of the MJ Show. I have today is Tuesday. Tomorrow night at 11:30, Ananya Birla is finally going to be joining me. We're going to be talking about her new song. People might be wondering, there are 3 times that I said Ananya Birla was going to join, but this third one is the right one. So it's happening tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. Join me over there, and maybe before that we'll end up doing an episode of the MJ Show stage as well. But for tonight, this is pretty much all the time we have. Thank you for everybody who's joined in right now. I had a great time seeing all your comments. Keep the love coming. And for tonight, however, let me say bye bye, and I'll see you soon.